Hey, what's up, man? It's your boy LB coming back at you guys with another album discussion. I know it's been a while. I guess about 5 or 6 days since I done my last one, but I'm back again. So to start this thing off, the album I want to talk about today is the second full studio album by Jane's Addiction, Ritual de la Habitual. Hope I pronounced that right, but here it is right here. Show you guys the cover and everything like that. Pretty cool cover, ain't it? The cover was actually done by the lead vocalist of the band, Perry Farrell. It was actually done by him, as well as the previous album, Nothing is Shocking. Both of those covers were done by him. Pretty dope. Very talented. But but yeah, man. For those of y'all who may not be familiar with Jane's Addiction, they're an alternative rock band from Los Angeles, California. Um, the band was started by the lead vocalist Perry Farrell in 1985. He had a band previously, like in the early '80s, called Psycon. I think that's I think that's the right name, Psycon. They were like more of an alternative rock band and they were like gothic rock too. But that band pretty much fizzled out, and Perry Farrell, he then started looking for other like musicians to start a new band up, and he ran into this guy named Eric Avery, who was a bassist, and they clicked because they both had a mutual respect for like bands Joy Division and the Velvet Underground, and they started to practice together. But uh, you know, Eric Avery's younger sister, she was dating a guy named Steve Perkins, who ended up being the drummer for the band. At her suggestion, he ended up becoming the drummer for Jane's Addiction, and both of them had a friend named Dave Navarro, who they said, who they I think they promised him that, like, if they ever was like to get like a band started or something like that, that they would make sure to get him. So at their suggestion, Dave Navarro became the guitarist of the band, and there you have Jane's Addiction, the classic lineup right there. Eric Avery, Perry Farrell, Dave Navarro, and Stephen Perkins, if you want to say. But they released the album in 1987 called Jane's Addiction, or known by a lot of fans as XXX or Triple X. The album was recorded live. I can't think of the place where it was actually recorded live at the moment, but they recorded the album live because they wanted to they wanted the listeners to catch the true essence of the band, of how they were as performers. And a few songs from that album were actually re-recorded and placed on their major label debut and like first full studio album, Nothing Shocking, which was also a great album. I also have in my collection. That was released in 1988. But 2 years later, we have this album right here, which is their most critically acclaimed album, to date, right here. And it's also the album that pushed him, into like high popularity, pushed him into huge popularity. You know what I'm saying? But unfortunately, the band, they broke up at the height of that popularity. And, it's unfortunate, but at the same time, due to their breakup, in 1991, Perry Farrell he started the whole Lollapalooza festival, which was initially supposed to have been a farewell tour for the band, but ended up becoming like this like great annual musical festival. So something good did come out of the whole thing. But anyway, this album right here, from what I've read, it's actually broken into like two parts. The first 5 songs are pretty much alternative rock tracks, hard rock tracks, with one reviewer called like unrelated tracks, some sort. I don't know what that means, but they're just typical hard rock tracks. You know what I'm saying? Great music. Um, a song I like out of the first 5 songs, I like that song called "No One's Leaving." I want to say that song talks about race, that's what I get from that song. I mean, Perry Farrell starts it off with like, I'm a white dread, I'm a white dread, so what? And he talks about his sister like being with a black man, and I guess she got kicked out of the house because of that. But her and the guy stayed together, and they end up having a baby. Cause he says like, let me see if I can remember. Um, my sister and her boyfriend slept in the park. She had to leave the house because he was dark. Um, Dang, I had it down pat, but he talks about them having a baby boy, and he says like, and he's gorgeous. You know what I'm saying? That's what I get from the song. Anyway, it talks about race in some way. But and of course, Ben called Stealing. That was my introduction to Jane's Addiction. The first time I actually heard that song was on the Grand Theft Auto San Andreas video game, because it was on the Radio X uh, station, which was one of my favorite radio stations when I played that game. And I looked in the booklet to see who did the song, found it, and I quickly started reading about Jane's Addiction. So that song really got me into the band. Now, tracks 6 through 9, those tracks are more of like a memoriam. Perry Farrell had this friend, or in some sources that I read, girlfriend named, I hope I'm pronouncing her name right, Ziola Blue. She was a young teenage girl. I think she came out to Los Angeles because her father was being buried, and she ended up meeting Perry Farrell, and they became like close friends, or they began dating briefly. But anyway, she she went back to New York City, and she died of a heroin overdose, and that was like in 1987. So a lot of these tracks are like a memorial for her. But I know one song on here called "Then She Did." Perry Farrell, he kind of like talks about the similarities of her and his mother. Um, when Perry Farrell was like 4 years old, his mother, who was an artist, she committed suicide. So, like, I guess say the last verse in that song, he talks about things that are similar about the two of them, and things that she would do for him when he was growing up as a young kid. You know what I'm saying? And track number 8, which is called "Of Course," that song right there is interesting because it has like Middle Eastern influences. Like, that song sounds like, like, I guess it sounds like something you would hear in the country of India, like the Bali dancers or whatever, the belly dancers or whatever. It sounds like something you would hear in India or something. In India or something, it has like an Eastern influence to it. That's the way it sounds like something you might. Maybe I'm saying that wrong, but it just has that influence, like something you would hear in like India or something like that. But it's a great track, and of course, "Classic Girl." I think that's another song that's like a tribute to like the girl I just mentioned. But yeah, like I said, man, this album was the most critically acclaimed of Jane's Addiction's discography, man. It pushed them to like a huge popularity, and it's in a lot of ways I think it's unfortunate that they broke up after this album, because it seems like with this album they were starting to tackle new grounds, and what I'm saying, take their music to other levels, and it makes you wonder like what might could have been if they had stayed together back then, like through the 90s or whatever, because they were like, Jane's Addiction is and Perry Farrell more specifically, he's considered like a leader of the alternative rock movement of the 90s, man, of that generation. And Jane's Addiction, they were at the forefront of that. You know what I'm saying? They were one of the first alternative rock bands to gain mainstream popularity. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of makes you wonder, like, what could have been if they had stayed together throughout the 90s or whatever. I mean, there's no telling what they might have could have done. But hey, it is what it is. Things happen for a reason. But like I said, man, Ritual de la Habitual, it's a great album. Um, I highly recommend it. If you ever come across it in your local record stores, don't hesitate to pick it up. Like, you definitely will not be disappointed. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're someone that's a fan of alternative rock like I am. I mean, I think you will be satisfied. So if you ever come across it, don't hesitate to pick it up, especially if you get it for a price like this. I mean, come on, $3.99. I found it for $3.99. Manifest Records, man, the used section. So I mean, if you find it for a price like that, man, go ahead and just jump on it, man. Just go ahead and jump on it, no doubt. But anyway, man, this is your boy LB, with another album discussion, man. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got something out of it. Hope I maybe convinced some of you guys to go purchase this album. Maybe I sparked the interest in some of you guys out there. But I hope you guys share this video to other people and share my other videos too that I have. But anyway, this is LB. Love, peace, and have a blessed day. Peace out.